Hi. Oh my gosh. I did not do let's get this crown popping. I did not do an energy report on YouTube last month. It was my birthday month, May. I mean, technically it's still May, but hi, how are you? New Era family. This is Dawn of Dawn of the New Era, the priestess and founder of this movement. The New Era movement is all about alchemizing and balancing our five bodies, right? Everyone's focused on the mental body, right? Like, oof, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, we also have this intelligence in our physical bodies, our emotional bodies, spiritual bodies, and then we have an energetic body too. We're actually made of energy, right? Cells are just like vibrating at a rapid speed, and that's how what makes us, right? So I pulled some cards for this upcoming. I wanted to get on here a little earlier because we are in a time of great. Whew, the lighting is not it. That's okay. We're gonna go with it because see if I just move a little bit. We're gonna go with it because I need to speak to some things now, even though it's, at the end of May going into June. We're thick. It's 2022. We are thick in the alchemical death and rebirth of our country, of our, I mean, humankind, yes, but specifically, right, this whole Pluto. I mean, I'm not astrologer, I'm a medium, intuitive, spiritual teacher, visionary, healer. But I do know the value of astrology, and I do know that, this Pluto return of our country means death and rebirth. And I did pull that card, and I pulled it specifically, the rebirth card for this month, right? For the month of July, which tells us that, in order for there to be a birth, there needs to be a death. And there's some really scary things, right, that have been happening for the last 2 years, not just in the United States, but within the whole world, right? Wars and the violence and through the violence, um, it brings up fear, and it brings up our root chakra, our survivalism. On one end, we're in such polarity extremes. On one end, we're in this time and place where we can create heaven on earth. And some of you as individuals are doing that, right? Some of your dreams are coming true. You're, buying your house, you're, getting more intimate relationships. Your spiritual life is just blossoming. You're understanding what your purpose is. It's really powerful. And on the other end, we have this collective fall of the patriarchy. We have this, if we go back to the five bodies, people have been developing their physical body, right? We're woke. We're woken, we're awakened. We're like, oh, let's eat these reishi and lion's mane and all these nourishing adrenal tonics and yoga. Yoga really popped off at the end of the old age. Breath, right? Somatic, like breath practices. We renewed our cosmic connection to the plant kingdom. I've been taking my jasmine. Connection to plants, connection to the mineral kingdom, right? The salt cave, our crystal collection. Like, in some ways, we've been really working this muscle of our spiritual selves, of our physical selves. Therapy, I always say therapy is wonderful, but please don't stop there. That's just information. You have to work the other bodies. This egoic 5 to 8% of your mind that people are trying to understand things and fix things with, it's not going to work, right? That's the old era. In this new era, we need to think of it as a workout regime, okay? Like I went to my friend Anthony and he was like, girl, you're like the front of your body's so strong, right? Like your your thighs and your abs, but you have to work your back body too. And in order to be balanced, we have to work all parts of ourselves. So, sure, dive into your spirituality. Sure, dive into physical health and nourishing your body, but we are devoid. We have a weak muscle here. And it's the emotional body, the emotional body. And I see it all the time. People reach out to me all the time wanting to be seen and heard and understood. I do compassionate listening sessions in every Reiki healing and every reading because I know that is what people need more than anything right now. And, we're having some really devastating, traumatic, the shooting at schools and children being targeted, right? I mean, this is some dark, shadowy shit. It's pretty awful, actually. And I mentioned a story on my Instagram about a couple of weeks ago. I was going to a networking event, and it was in a mall. And as I was walking up, there was a mom with just like a 3-year-old walking behind her, and he was just kind of whining, and she was like, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." So the kid, I'm gonna guess, had a need. This is an example of the emotional intelligence process. Is like if I was to empathically guess, like this little boy had a need to be held, maybe some nurturing, maybe some rest. I'm sure he was tired. It was fairly late in the day. And the mom, right? She probably had a need for ease and just wanted to be at the mall and get to where she was going and do what she wanted to do. And, right, so these are conflicting needs. And her resolution was to spank him. And I heard her say, "I'm going to spank you." I was like, "Oh, please don't. Oh, please don't. I see this at the mall all the time. Please don't spank your child." And she did, and she bopped him a little too hard on the butt, and he flew, hit his head, his pacifier flew out of his mouth. I mean, that is how half of the population is parenting their children. And then we go, why are these people violently hurting people? So what might be an alternative solution in that situation? It might have been to get down. Thank goodness my daughter went to an emotionally intelligent preschool. They didn't teach how to count. They didn't teach any of the stuff that now she knows, and she knows very well: math and science and arts. They focused on arts and emotional intelligence because they knew that was the muscle that needed to be worked. And so getting on that child's level and saying, "I'm hearing you're crying right now. You're sad. Like you're having a hard time just walking," right? That usually will just in itself allow that child to feel seen and heard. But what's happened is that we have 7 generations of people that have not been heard, that have not been seen, that are not feeling connected to their needs because they've been hit or shushed away. And repression, in the new era, we say repression leads to aggression. And so now we have very violent behavior after years of people repress. Do you know one time I was volunteering at my daughter's school, and this little girl, I'll never forget, she touched me, man. She touched me. I was volunteering with this teacher at lunchtime, just watching the kids, making sure they're cool. And this girl, about 4th grade, she runs up to me and the teacher, and she says, "Excuse me, Mrs. So-and-so, I have a scream and I need to let it out. So I'm going to go outside and let it out. I'll be back." And the teacher said, "No, you sit down and be quiet. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet." They always say, "Be quiet." No expression. That shit leads to aggression. That will lead to aggression. Repression leads to aggression. Or if you really want to be a good boy or a good girl, depression. Just like stuff that down, stuff it down, stuff it down, stuff it down. No, we have to work this emotional intelligence muscle, okay? If you're wondering how you can fix the world, find out what you're feeling, find out what you're needing, find a way to express it, whether it's through a friend, a journal, a therapist, a spiritual coach like myself. That is the mission right now, folks. That's the solution. I can't believe that teacher told that little girl to go sit down. I was appalled when she was teaching her, when she knew she needed to go out and scream. So let's look at the cards. What do we got here? I'm working with the Carolyn Miss Archetype deck, and we have two. We have gossip. So when I see this card, I see talking and expression that comes from here and not heartfelt, right? We have to stop just talking and spitting from here because it's just not, it's not creating solutions. It's hurting other empaths. The second archetype, the one that is the solution, is the guide. So here we have this like medicine woman, right? And she has the lantern and she is holding the owl. It's kind of hard to see because the lighting here is crap. She's holding this owl. And she, you know, the owl represents deep feminine mysteries. It's the mystery school. We're in it. We're in the mystery school. And the mystery school doesn't have a lot to do with this. It has to do with the physical body, the emotional body, the spiritual, and the energetics. And so letting yourself have a guide is imperative. I have at least a dozen people reach out to me a day. And they say, you know, you were in my dreams, or oh, I feel really called to you. But we've been taught to be independent, right? We're taught to do it ourselves. There's no shame in getting a guide. And if your spirit is leaning you towards a guide, listen. I've had so many amazing guides, and I still do, because every good medicine woman has other medicine women at their back. Also working with the Avalon deck, we talked about this rebirth. I talked about that at the beginning of the reading. Like, we are coming up in June and July on a death and rebirth. So June would probably be like the beginnings of the death process. And then July, boom, that's when it happens. So what do we feel like when there's big change like this? A novice. We have the beginner novice card. Novice isn't bad. Staying curious and open is a good thing. And then lastly, look how old this deck is. We have the Earth Fairy, right? And again, she's connected to the mineral kingdom. She is feeling deeply in her core, her truth, her needs. She is making requests, and she's staying grounded and close to the earth. That's the other message I'm getting strongly, is to stay grounded and close to the earth. Mother Earth is our charging station. We're like little iPhones. And when we go to Mother Earth, we can go charge on her. And I would love to see you coming into that silence and that connection with her. So lastly, as we move into June, we have the focus card. What to focus on? We talked about it's emotional intelligence. I personally have been studying Dr. Marshall Rosenberg's NVC modality, this 47 feelings and needs, but there's so many ways to connect to the life within, right? There's so many ways. Just don't stop at information. And don't think that like the old system is going to be the solution for the problems that are happening during this collective ending death process. Let's take a breath together. If you're local to Columbus, Ohio, I have about 2 to 3 in-person gatherings a week. We have wonderful ways to connect online through the Beehive on Facebook, Dawn of the New Era on all of social media. I would love to stay connected to you, answer any questions you have. I also do private readings, dawn-thompson.com. Good luck. Be well, be in the moment, and express yourself.